Hi, I would like to talk about a new piece of free software called ZVM in Linux Modern Administration, or zlma, possibly pronounced Zelma. What is it? It's software that enables Linux servers to be managed in a modern fashion, largely from a browser. Why do this? Well, is ZVM on the mainframe dying, and must it be reinvented? I know that the browser was not around in the 1970s, and now it is, so we probably don't have to be using interfaces such as green screens from the 1970s when there are many better alternatives. So what's the status of this code? Most of what I'll show you is written, but the VIF backend is not, and we'll come back around to that. The goals is to be modern, avoid green screens, to be centralized, keep all of your CMDB data not in one place, but ideally in two places. When you write a piece of data, you also write it to a second hot standby in case you lose your primary, you have the secondary. Same is true for all ZVM console data is in one place, which is not true today with multiple LPARs. Should be simple, few web pages, simple menus, no fancy frameworks, one config file, one log directory. Should be well architected, keep it in a fast relational database, cross LPAR communication using modern standards such as SSH and HTTPS. There's one Linux admin server per ZVM LPAR. All the new code is written in Python 3.10 or greater. The roles, the web UI tries to just do the presentation, where web UI calls line commands which do the heavy lifting, and there's a RESTful API for cross LPAR communication, and of course it must be secure. Here's a very quick block diagram. I'm not going to go through it in details, but everything you see running is on one Linux server on one ZVM LPAR. So let's look at the code. This is the home page. I mentioned that there's simple menus, so these 5 buttons are all you need to do to move around. There's VIF, the virtual image facility, which is an IBM product from many years ago. It reincarnated the grammar. The Finder is your CMDB data. Consoles allows you to get to all the console data from one place, and the ability to run ZVM commands. So let's go to the help, context sensitive help. Well, before I forget, let me drill down into a help, and that takes us to the page that we were just on, but it's context sensitive, so it brings you to the right anchor. Okay. So the virtual image facility has 4 main commands: Hypervisor, which manages ZVM, image, which manages Linux's, disk obviously manages disks, and a query. So Hypervisor, you can do many things at the ZVM level. Image, let's look at creating a new Linux image. So it only prompts for the host name, Linux 4, and right now there's only one of 2 distros. And if you create the image, if you click create image, this is one of the pieces of code which is not yet written, but it shouldn't be that hard. Okay, so that's VIF. Let's actually look at one more. We're going to do set. So that allows you to change the number of CPUs or the amount of memory on any of your Z Linuxes. So I'm running on Z Linux 1 here, and I don't have enough memory, so I can tell that I only have 2 gig from here, and let's move that to 8 gigabytes. And that should be able to be done without bringing the Linux system down. You should be able to add memory and CPUs on the fly. Okay, enough of VIF. Let's go look at Finder, the CMDB tool. All right, that's showing 5 servers, but only 4 of them are Z Linux. So if I search for S390, it will return the architecture which matches that. So there's 4 out of 5. Now if I search for prod, how many of my servers are in prod? That's metadata. The environment is in prod, and you'll notice that the search hit 2 different columns. So the search searches all columns, which might sound counterintuitive, but it ends up being rather powerful. So let's say that somebody needs this. Romney needs a server, and he's in ZVM dev, and this is going to be a dev, and the app is going to be, let's see, dev. Okay, so the ability, that data was updated in the database, and there's the ability to update it from a browser, which I think is pretty cool. All right, let's look at consoles. This is a piece of code that I resurrected. I wrote it a number of years ago. So I'm going to drill down into my user ID on the primary LPAR, and you see the query time was done on 10/17, so that was a while ago. So I haven't. So right from here, I can spool the console, or grab the latest console data. So now when I go down, I can see that I ran the query time, and I'm off by an hour. But anyway, you get the idea. So that's consoles. Let's look at commands. All right. Right now you can do CP commands. Query time. Query time is a CP command, and 12:39 is pretty close, off by an hour because it's Eastern Daylight Time, supposed to be Eastern Standard Time. And we can't run CMS commands yet, but ideally you'd be able to run either CMS or CP commands. All right, so that is like a very quick view. Let's go back to here. There was something I wanted to talk about. The back end is not written. There's a couple of ways to write it. You could do all of the heavy lifting by throwing it to a CMS machine, or this is what I would probably do if there were a way to say, well, I'm running Dermain, the directory maintenance product is IBM's Dermain, then I should be able to get a user directory entry which defines a virtual machine, modify it, say I need to add 6 gig of memory, and then replace it. And that could largely be done in Python if this get and replace function could work for both IBM Dermain and Broadcom VM Secure. Those are the two most commonly used products. So that is my talk. I wanted to keep it short, under 8 minutes. And again, the code is on github.com, Mike99Mac, and zlma. Thank you very much.